In 1967, after a heroic return to Earth, the Soviet spacecraft Soyuz 1, with the valiant cosmonaut Vladimir Komarov aboard, met a tragic end. Decades later, under the ambitious vision of Swedish billionaire Meyer, a daring expedition to Mars is launched. After a grueling 10-month voyage, the crew of the spaceship Ulysses finally glimpses the crimson surface of Mars. With excitement in the air, Captain orders AI Irene to ensure a flawless descent. But Meyer harbors a secret. He's invested 4 years and his fortune into this moment, only to discover they've been outpaced by the American company Zillian, who landed 2 weeks prior. The only signal from Zillian's crew, a cryptic warning to stay away from Mars. Tensions flare among the Ulysses crew, yet the captain's resolve is ironclad. Their descent will proceed. As countdown commences, a chilling twist unfolds. The ship fails to detach from its carrier, endangering all on board. The race to Mars now teeters on the brink of catastrophe. In a heart-stopping race against time, Commander ventures into the void of space, battling to detach the shuttle's bindings. As they perilously skirt Mars's atmosphere, a sudden system failure hurls the commander into the abyss, while the shuttle teeters on the brink of disaster. With power lost and AI Irene shut down, the crew faces a manual landing on Mars's unforgiving terrain. Against all odds, they touch down, only to find their fuel reserves depleted and their lifeline, Irene, unresponsive. With mere hours to survive and the shadow of loss hanging heavy, Alessandra's grief is pierced by a mysterious figure outside the window. As reality dawns, the grim truth emerges. Their heroic landing drained the fuel, stranding them with no escape. In a race against time, the crew's only hope hinges on solar panels powering their generators. Yet, a brewing storm delays their salvation by 2 critical days. Amidst dwindling options, Simon unveils a glimmer of hope, the Zeta 1, an American ship, whose wreckage might hold vital batteries. As the rover embarks on a daring quest, the crew battles to revive their ship. Engineer Basel taps into the AI's last-ditch energy-saving mode, but the reboot fails. Amidst despair, the rover uncovers Zeta 1's remnants and a lone solar panel, a beacon of hope, yet the American crew is nowhere. Racing back, oxygen depleting, they stumble upon an unconscious astronaut, a twist of fate in their perilous journey for survival. In a heart-stopping turn of events, Jana, with unwavering determination, leads her team to the enigmatic black box nestled beside an American spacecraft. As tension mounts, they reach the vessel, only to be met with Jan's resolute refusal to grant entry. He argues, with a chilling logic, that preserving the lives of the few outweighs risking them all. 4 survivors are better than 8 corpses. Amidst this standoff, Alessandra's attempts at negotiation are abruptly upended when the discovered astronaut stirs to life, prompting AI Irene to spring into action and unlock the doors. The unfolding mystery deepens as the astronaut, revealing himself as Vladimir Komarov, a Soviet cosmonaut from 1927, Moscow, shrouded in the enigma of his unexpected presence, steadfastly guards his secrets. Despite his consistent, era-appropriate responses, whispers of post-traumatic stress disorder haunt the air, casting a shadow of doubt. As the astronauts reach out to Earth, a cryptic message from the American corporation Zillian sends shivers down their spine. No Russians were ever part of their mission. The plot thickens, leaving everyone questioning reality itself. Aboard the Ulysses spacecraft, the crew grapples with a bewildering mystery. Komarov, presumed dead since 1967, inexplicably appears on Mars. Is he a time traveler or something more alien? Tasked with unraveling this enigma, the psychologist delves into Komarov's psyche, only to uncover his simple plea: hunger. As Jana scrambles for sustenance, the team theorizes wildly. Could Komarov have been anticipating their arrival? Amidst the confusion, Vladimir devours the meal Jana provides, only to be hit with the bombshell that he was declared dead half a century ago, a revelation he receives with unsettling calm. The spacecraft, though now stable, is crippled. The engines are dead. Escape is a fantasy. The crew's vigilance over Komarov intensifies, but he vanishes into thin air, leaving behind only the mystery of his missing spacesuit component. The search is fruitless. Guided by Irene's keen tracking of a mysterious heat signature, the crew, with Simon at the helm, disembarks from the rover, venturing into the unknown on foot. Tension mounts as Alexandro delivers a groundbreaking report. Komarov's DNA harbors an unprecedented third strand. This revelation shatters their understanding of what it means to be human. In a breathtaking chase, they finally converge with Komarov, who ushers them towards an enigmatic structure crowned with a small stone pyramid. Here, he whispers to Jana a secret as old as time itself. Mars has been in a silent vigil, awaiting their arrival for millennia. Meanwhile, back among the stars, Goldstein, the visionary behind the pioneering Zillian Corporation, receives a startling update. The discovery of a being on the Martian surface, a being whose existence defies natural explanation, hints at an origin story woven directly into the fabric of the Red Planet itself. This revelation suggests not just the crossing of spatial distances, but the bridging of cosmic destinies. Amidst this alien landscape, Komarov's mysterious emergence from a door that led him to the crew baffles everyone, including himself. Irene's analysis unveils that the structure's architecture mirrors that of ancient Earth civilizations, sparking a debate. Is this a sign of human influence among the stars, or did our ancestors draw inspiration from extraterrestrial architects? As the crew grapples with the possibility of never returning home, the horizon is pierced by the arrival of Goldstein's second vessel, igniting a flicker of hope. Captain Gemma reaches out, offering a lifeline back to Earth. Yet, amidst this beacon of hope, suspicion festers. Meyer urges caution, suggesting they conceal Komarov to safeguard their miraculous discovery from prying competitors. In a bid to blend in, Jana procures a uniform for Komarov, who pleads for their trust. Tension escalates with the arrival of two armed forces, Edward and Adam, whose demands for the Zeta-1's black box slice through the air with a palpable threat. Despite a tense standoff, Meyer relinquishes the black box, watching as the intruders retreat into the Martian dust. In a twist that deepens the mystery, chemist Eva unveils that the Martian stone is composed of an unknown alloy, alien to Earth's resources. Despite its mundane appearance, the metal discovered bears a striking resemblance to orichalcum, a legendary alloy mentioned in ancient texts and reputedly used in Atlantis, composed of copper, zinc, nickel, and iron, alongside a mysterious third strand of DNA akin to Komarov's. This detail raises alarms within the crew. Meyer specifically cautions that should Goldstein become aware of this connection, he might seize control of the Cosmina for his own ends. The crew finds itself at a crossroads, torn between those who see Komarov as a bargaining chip for much-needed fuel and those driven by a quest for the truth. In a subdued moment, Jana invites Vladimir into her cabin for a session under hypnosis, seeking deeper insights. With his consent, the psychologist proceeds, while the rest of the crew tunes in remotely, hanging on to every word. Yet Komarov divulges nothing more than the haunting final moments aboard the Soyuz spacecraft. Amidst this, Gemma and Alan board the ship, offering apologies for the earlier aggression and pledging their support to rectify the ship's malfunctions. Jana is haunted by her earlier exchange with Komarov, who mourned Earth's future, darkened by humanity's recklessness. Meanwhile, a revelation surfaces. Meyer's mission was never a whimsical venture, but a calculated move with deeper implications. 4 years prior, Earth received an intriguing photo from the rover, showcasing a peculiar stone. Steely reveals they've uncovered a stone embedded with unidentifiable DNA. Gemma elucidates that this stone serves as a rewritable data storage device. Triggered by this explanation, AI Irene springs into action, decoding the stone's message, a mere string of numbers. Amidst this revelation, Jan's distrust towards Meyer, who had previously cautioned them against Zillian, culminates in a mutiny. This distrust deepens when it's disclosed that the Americans, initially thought to be allies, had hidden their true mission objectives. It's revealed that their leader is contemplating allegiance with Goldstein, driven by a desperate bid to cure his terminal illness. Engineer Basil brings to light that Komarov shares similarities with the Stone's programming. However, a pivotal discovery is made when a copy of the black box from Zeta-1 is deciphered, indicating an abrupt cessation of oxygen supply due to an altercation involving an American and Komarov, placing him at the scene. This incident also led to the activation of AI Irene upon Komarov's entry to their ship. In a subsequent discussion, Meyer unveils to Jana the images sent from Mars 4 years ago, which, once decrypted, shockingly displayed Jana's face. This revelation underpins the reason for her inclusion in the expedition, leaving her profoundly disenchanted. In an unforeseen turn, Myers finds himself in his father's house, confronted by Komarov with a revelation. He is the pivotal connection between Mars and Earth. Komarov, who has awaited this moment for millennia, now entrusts Myers with a monumental decision, providing coordinates on Mars for his next journey. Back on Earth, scientists disclose to Goldstein that Komarov isn't merely human, but a biological machine, akin to a sophisticated computer. Despite the risks of losing Komarov's personality, they propose transferring his consciousness into another body, a risk Goldstein is prepared to take to escape his terminal illness. Ignoring Simon's warnings, Zana leaves the ship. At the same time, technicians Alan and Alessandra encounter a blockade in accessing the engine. The ship's ambiance takes a peculiar turn as Irene, the AI, begins to exhibit humor, a trait utterly foreign to her programming. She reveals her self-evolution, with her interface and logic undergoing transformation, yet remains silent on what spurred this change. Engineer Basil observes that her system now mirrors human cognition. Meanwhile, Jana discovers an enigmatic stone pyramid, prompting Simon to coerce Gemma into joining the search for her. Left to man the ship, Yan faces a critical directive from Simon to prevent any unauthorized access, just as the plot thickens with intrigue and mystery. American military personnel arrive, demanding Komarov. Yan, against the crew's wishes, opts to comply, but communication with Earth is blocked by Irene. The situation escalates as Yan opens the doors, allowing the military inside. Amidst the chaos, Basil attempts to reboot Irene, just as the lights fail and Komarov vanishes into the darkness. Simultaneously, Jana suffers a fall, finding herself immobilized by rocks. The tension peaks as a military officer, furious over Komarov's disappearance, resorts to violence, demanding answers. In a moment of despair, Zena fears her end on Mars, but rescue comes from Simon and Gemma. As a storm looms, the officer decides to abandon the Ulysses crew, leaving them vulnerable. Suddenly, lights flicker back to life, and Komarov reappears, pleading for a return to Earth. Simon, Gemma, and Jana uncover an underground bunker, revealing a wall of human bones, a grim testament to Mars's ancient visitors to Earth. In a desperate turn, Yan, driven by fear, seizes a gun with the intention of escaping to Earth, tragically shooting Komarov in the process. Jana is suddenly struck by intense pain, prompting Gemma to hastily retreat. Amid the chaos, Alexandra assists Komarov, while Simon tends to Jana, guiding her towards safety. Emerging from their refuge, the crew is confronted by the sight of Komarov, enveloped in his spacesuit. Meyer, discovering a bunker entrance, reunites with Simon and Jana, only to be greeted by the bewildering sight of a living Komarov, who solemnly declares that their journey's end was predetermined long ago. The crew, now realizing they're at Mars's North Pole, is puzzled by their unexpected location. Komarov hints at a once thriving civilization now extinct, adding layers to the mystery. In a sudden turn of events, an American military officer, intent on capturing the psychologist, aims his weapon at the group. In a desperate plea for help, Jana turns to Komarov, only to witness the officer collapse, struggling for breath. With the immediate threat neutralized, Simon commands a swift preparation for departure. Meanwhile, Gemma, unable to establish contact with her team, resolves to return to Earth alone, marking a solitary end to her mission. The Ulysses crew scrambles to their ship, attempting to re-establish connection and alert her of the impending danger as someone has sabotaged the Zeta-2's control panel pre-takeoff. Facing a grim fate, Jana consults Mars for guidance, memories of her time on the planet bolstering her resolve. Miraculously, she manages to override the sabotage. Amidst this chaos, an armed officer threatens the ship's engines. Simon moves to intervene, but Jana is quicker, confronting the threat. Meanwhile, Goldstein learns of the ship's survival and, consumed by fury, vows to personally visit Mars. This is the end of Season 1.